Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. Man, I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we are looking at a literally game-changing shift in India's plastic waste regulations. Look, if you manufacture, import, package, or even just sell plastic materials, the rules of the game have completely changed. Today, we're breaking down exactly what you need to know about navigating the newly centralized Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR, guidelines. We are going to turn all that complex regulatory speak into a clear, actionable survival guide for your business. Let's get right into it.
To really grasp why these strict new regulations are hitting the industry right now, we have to look at the macro problem. India generates an estimated 9.46 million tons of plastic waste every single year. To put that massive number into perspective, that is the weight of over 25 Empire State Buildings in plastic trash generated annually. And unfortunately, a huge portion of this just isn't properly collected or disposed of, which is triggering severe environmental and health crises. The government has basically realized that voluntary measures just aren't cutting it anymore, so we are now looking at mandatory, digitally tracked accountability.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. Section 1, the Plastic Waste Challenge. Section 2, who needs to register? Section 3, navigating the new portal. Section 4, registration steps and fees. Section 5, compliance and documentation. And finally, Section 6, pitfalls and the future. Section 1, the Plastic Waste Challenge and the regulatory solution.
So what does this all actually mean? Well, the core mechanism they're using is Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. This is a framework under the Plastic Waste Management Rules from 2016, which was crucially amended in 2022 to bring in a mandatory centralized registration process. Basically, EPR shifts the entire burden of waste management back onto the businesses that create or import the plastic in the first place. Put simply, if you put plastic into the Indian market, you are now legally accountable for making sure a corresponding amount is properly managed or recycled at the end of its life.
Section 2. Who needs to register? Let's decode the alphabet soup.
First up, we've got PBOs. That stands for Producers, Importers, and Brand Owners. Now, this is a massive umbrella. It covers anyone manufacturing plastic packaging, importing products wrapped in plastic, or even online marketplaces and retail chains selling goods under a registered brand label. So if you're importing goods, you're on the hook. If you're a supermarket with your own private label, yep, you're on the hook too.
On the flip side of this equation, we have the PWPs, or plastic waste processors. These are the facilities that are out there actively dealing with the waste. We're talking recyclers, waste-to-energy plants, waste-to-oil facilities, and industrial composters. They're the other half of this whole ecosystem. While PIBOs are generating the plastic, PWPs actually process it. And, most importantly, they generate the compliance certificates that PIBOs need to buy to prove they've met their targets. It's like a giant puzzle.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. The regulatory net is expanding drastically. With the recent 2024 SIMP module update from the Central Pollution Control Board, registration is no longer just a headache for the big consumer packaging brands. The crucial point is, it is now absolutely mandatory for manufacturers, importers, and even sellers of plastic raw materials, plus micro and small producers. Basically, everyone needs to be prepared for this.
Section 3, navigating the new portal.
And this brilliantly illustrates the new digital reality we're facing. The centralized EPR portal is designed to be a complete one-stop shop. It's the central digital hub where everyone, PIBOs, WPs, even urban local bodies, can log in, track their specific targets, validate their transactions, and exchange those critical EPR certificates in real time. Say goodbye to manual paperwork, because that is entirely a thing of the past.
Now, if you were already registered in the system, listen closely, because you are literally on the clock. The existing portal's operations are scheduled to be discontinued on June 28, 2026. That is paving the way for a newly developed common EPR portal going live right in the first week of July 2026. Now, while all existing user data is going to be migrated over, you must proactively log in to verify your migrated data. If there are any discrepancies, you have to report them immediately to avoid any sudden compliance gaps. You do not want to be caught off guard here.
Section 4, Registration Steps and Fees. All right, before you even open your browser to register, you need to gather your paperwork. Think of this as your survival checklist. You need your company's PAN, GST, and CIN, plus the Aadhaar and PAN of your authorized person. Importers, grab your IEC certificate. If you have a production facility, you need your valid consent to establish or consent to operate from the State Pollution Control Board.
Oh, and if you are a waste processor, you now need the exact GPS location of your unit, geotagged photos, and plant machinery details. Honestly, if you're missing any of these, your application is going to stop before it even starts.
So the actual online registration process itself is pretty comprehensive. You'll be filling out a detailed 4-part application. It covers your general entity info, authorized person details, and vital operational data, like your waste generation and procurement details for the last 2 years. And it all culminates in a full EPR action plan.
The user journey is strictly enforced, so let's walk through it. Step 1. Sign up using your PAN and GST to create your credentials. Step 2. Meticulously fill out that 4-part form we just talked about. Step 3. Upload all those prerequisite documents and digitally sign the whole thing. And Step 4. Pay the fee online. Now for a sigh of relief, if everything is perfectly in order, the CPCB or state board actually has to process it within a 15-day window. Not bad for regulatory compliance, right?
Let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, the cost. The application fees scale directly based on your volume of plastic waste generated, measured in tons per annum. If you generate under 200 tons, you're looking at a 5,000 rupee fee. Between 200 and 2,000 tons, that's 20,000 rupees. And over 2,000 tons will run you 50,000 rupees. Also, don't forget, there's an additional 25% of that application fee charged every single year as a processing fee when you file your annual returns.
Section 5. Compliance and documentation.
Listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. Manual bills, they are completely out. PBOs and PWPs absolutely must upload GSTE invoice details, complete with those QR codes, for all plastic packaging and waste transactions. The CPCB is relying on the GST network to cross-validate your sales and procurement data in real time. This is how they're achieving a foolproof calculation of your EPR targets. You literally cannot fake it.
So, what does the ongoing compliance loop actually look like? Well, your business has to procure valid EPR certificates from registered waste processors. That proves your waste was actually recycled. You also have to make sure you are only doing business with other entities registered on the portal. And you must maintain flawless, strict records to file your annual returns before June 30th every single year.
Section 6. Pitfalls and the future. Now, what's really interesting about this is the high stakes for international trade. Following a June 2025 directive from the CCPB, customs authorities will verify your EPR registration right there at the port. If you are importing raw materials or packaged commodities and you aren't registered, your goods literally will not clear customs. Non-compliance essentially means a hard stop to your entire supply chain. No way around it.
Let's expose some of the common mistakes that are triggering audits right now. A massive red flag is missing GSTE invoices. Companies are getting caught uploading standard tax invoices or manual bills without QR codes. Audits are also catching data discrepancies, like waste processors declaring massive processing capacities but lacking the actual power consumption to back it up. And we're even seeing misreporting, where units illegally process non-packaging waste just to claim packaging EPR credits. You absolutely have to be meticulous here. And here is the financial gut punch for making those mistakes. Defaulting PIBOs face massive environmental compensation fines. Now, while it averages around 5,000 rupees per ton for any shortfalls in your EPR targets, the revised 2024 guidelines actually vary this by plastic category. For instance, Category 1 is 2,900 rupees per ton, but that jumps all the way up to 7,900 rupees per ton for Categories 3 and 4. On top of that, if you provide false information, your registration can be suspended entirely, and you could be banned from reapplying for a full year.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. Will strict real-time digital tracking, severe fines, and perhaps broader systemic shifts, like reducing our reliance on single-use plastics and incentivizing the informal recycling sector, finally turn the tide on India's 9.46 million tons of plastic waste? Or is this just going to create insurmountable hurdles for businesses? It is a fascinating, delicate balance between environmental necessity and operational reality. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Get your documents in order, stay compliant, and I'll see you next time.